Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. My name is Marcus Brunwick. I'm an attorney, and I'm gonna talk to you today about disaster planning for your business. A little bit about me: I graduated from Illinois State University in Normal, Illinois. I went to law school at Southern Illinois University, did pretty good there, got out past the bar. I've been a Cubs fan since 1987. It's been a pretty tough sports life, with the exception of last year. We did really well. I've been an attorney since 2004, so I've got 12 years of experience. Most of our practice centers around tax issues, buying and selling a business, operational income tax. Usually the businesses that we deal with are generally in the $3 to $10 million range. We're looking to get a little bit over that pretty quick. I got into tax because I just did really good at it in school, and we do really good work here. What is business continuity planning? It is the creation of a strategy, and keep in mind that's a strategy, not just a simple document, through the recognition of threats and risks facing a company with an eye to ensure that personnel and assets, and nowadays they put a lot of emphasis on computer security as well, and that you're able to function in the event of a disaster. You might not function during the disaster like a hurricane, but definitely afterwards, you definitely want to keep going. And also the images used in this presentation might be copyrighted to the United States and FEMA. The presentation kind of necessitates that we use their documents to get you ready. We're going to go over why be prepared, and then the steps behind the plan. Organize the plan, know and assess your risk, business impact analysis, prevent hazards and reduce the risk. Maybe you find some that are insurable. You want to actually write the plan, and we'll go over that. Share with necessary parties, train your people, conduct an exercise, test that plan, evaluate your strengths and weaknesses, and plan for improvement. What I'm not going to cover here are the day-to-day, month-to-month, week-to-week stuff like slips and falls, employee injury, unruly customers, an angry employee, vehicular accidents, and insurance. This should already be covered in your policy manual, and your managers should know that. So, why be prepared? You've got two main headings. You've got natural and man-made disasters. Your natural disasters in the Southeast, including Florida, Georgia, Mississippi. You've got your hurricanes. In the Midwest here, we've got pretty much everything. We've got tornadoes, earthquakes, flooding, severe storms. Then both in the Northeast and Northwest, you deal with a lot of wintry weather. In the West, including California, you deal with earthquakes, and you deal with mudslides and wildfire. In the South, you pretty much deal with everything. And some examples of recent disasters came just last week. There was a tornado that claimed 20 people, rather unfortunately. We've had the Tennessee wildfires last year. We've had a couple of hurricanes. California had an earthquake 2 years ago. And I want to point out that it really doesn't even have to be a disaster in order to slow down business. In Atlanta, in 2014, they got a mere 3 inches of snow, but it crippled the entire city for days afterwards, and we want you to be prepared for that. We also have our man-made disasters. You've got fires, terrorism, hostage situations, power outage, grid failure. We've had a couple of nuclear meltdowns, and there's always the possibility for war if you've got operations overseas. Generally here in the States, we don't prepare for that, but if you have anything overseas, you you might be well advised to deal with that. In the past, we've had, regarding man-made disasters, we've had Stuxnet, which was thought to be an attack by America onto Iran with a computer virus. We've had Chernobyl, of course, over in Russia, Fukushima in Japan, 3 Mile Island in America. Those are 3 meltdowns that have happened globally. We've had 9/11, of course, we're all familiar with that. That happened 15 years ago. We've had the Nice truck attack over in France that claimed 84 lives. We've had the Deepwater Horizon just off our shore in 2010. And we've had the great fill-in-the-blank fire. Chicago's had one. And in the future, we predict there will be a flu pandemic. Right now, 10 states are dealing with that. We've got drug-resistant bacteria. They're abbreviated MRSA, CRE, and VRE. They're all drug-resistant enterococcus. More weapons of mass destruction, cyber war that is happening now, the grid failure of the Northeast in 2003. If you look at the government report, which if you look underneath my heading, that's where you get to that 492-page report regarding transforming the nation's electricity system. We are subject to a cyber attack, which theoretically could shut us down. We've got cities running out of water, so the long and short of it is that you and your business have got to be prepared. So what do? You're going to organize a plan. At this stage, what you would do is you would take an all hazards approach. And what I mean by that is you want to think about what could possibly happen. That way you take a general mentality, okay, should we have someone trained in CPR? Should we have a first aid kit? What can we do to protect ourselves from whatever nature and man can throw at us? In the next step, you're going to want to go to page 19 of the Ready Business Mentoring Guide. You can find that on the FEMA website. And what that does is that assesses your specific risks. And you're going to look at your region. If you go back to slide 6, that kind of gives you some more specific threats. For instance, here, one thing that we have to deal with is the Bridgeton landfill and the radioactive fire that they've got going there. That is a specific threat to the region. And what they have going there is they have a fire that is burning underground, and it is a mere 1,000 feet against radioactive waste that was dumped there illegally shortly after World War II. Also, you're going to want to look at your general location. Are you next to water? Are you in a high crime area? Also, you're going to look at your industry. A bank has a different set of risks than a chemical manufacturer. Some of the things addressed on page 19. You've got your natural disasters, includes floods, hurricanes, tornado, winter storm, extreme heat, earthquakes, volcano, landslide, tsunami, and fires, and they give a no risk, low, moderate, or high. Under technological hazards, you've got materials, nuclear power plant, power outages, cybersecurity, and that is becoming big. Terrorism, you've got explosions, biological, chemical, nuclear blast, and radiological dispersion device. Generally, that's not something that we have to worry about. I mean, the threat is there, but really and truly, it happens once in a long while. Then also you've got your local hazards, as I've said, specific to your business. Business impact analysis, this would be critical for ensuring your loss. If you shut down for 1 day, how much money do you lose? If one department is shut down for a week, how much money do you lose? If a supplier or a contractor goes out, how much money do you lose? You would want to know that kind of sort of ahead of time. That way you're not scrambling to find records, remake the data, and present it to the insurance company. I'd probably recommend doing this in advance. That way you eliminate the guesswork. We've had one person that I know where their data was wiped out, and we were really scrambling to put back together, with no data, what really went on. Now, when you do this, you're gonna look at your hazards and you're gonna realize, hey, I've got a lot more than what I thought. You can't prevent a hurricane, your business can't prevent a power outage, but you can buy a UPS, uninterruptible power supply. You can buy a standby generator. You can insure your loss. Number 5, you're gonna wanna reduce your plan to writing. And if you go to the Ready Business Mentoring Guide on page 52, you've got a sample guide. Now, I read some business preparedness plans. They'll run 40, 50 pages. You don't need that. You just need a plan. If you look at page 52 of this guide, they go over, number 1, plan to stay in business, of course. You've got some contact information, emergency contact. You're going to want to write down what you think could happen. That's on page 2 of this plan. You want to be informed. You want to have your emergency planning team. You're going to want to get to know people, coordinate with others. You've got write down of your critical operations, and you're going to write down the numbers for your suppliers and contractors. On page 4, there is an evacuation plan. You should go over that, of course, with your managers and employees. If there's a fire, or for instance, we have a tornado evacuation plan, and we kind of promptly get out of the building and go to a third location. Number 5, you've got a shelter-in-place plan. And that would generally be if you can't get out of the area, you've got a shelter in place. This would be a chemical attack, which I don't think has happened very often in this country, but you want to be prepared for that. You want to go over your communications, cybersecurity, and records backup. Also, the very last line of this sample emergency plan is the annual review date should be done on X date. Generally, first of the year is a good time. That way you don't forget. You want to share it, of course, with your managers and employees. You don't want to explain that, hey, we've got a fire evacuation plan when there's a fire. Very inopportune time. You may also be under obligation under law to inform the public. Notice whenever you go into a hotel, they're required by law to post an evacuation route. Next, you're going to want to train your employees. Think of when you had CPR, maybe in high school. You weren't just given a book and told to read about it. You were shown by your instructor, here's what you do. And of course, it's been a long time since I've had it, but 20 chest compressions, 2 breaths, and then you go 20 more, and you're demonstrated how to do that. Next, you're going to want to have the employee conduct an exercise, see if they can actually do it. Maybe in a fire, granted, a fire, you probably just want to get out of the building. You wouldn't shut down your computer, but sometimes it's a little bit more necessary than others. Shut down the computer and close the door to your office. That way you don't feed the fire. Walk calmly out the door. Meet your manager in the parking lot to be accounted for. Test. This can get expensive. I know that one local firm, when they do their fire test, they have to call the fire department and tell them to disregard their alarm. In this, what you would do is you would have every employee, not just an individual employee, go for a test. Say, okay, we're in alarm mode. And what you would want to do is get everybody out of the building, and then mark down, what happened when you evaluate it. Maybe one employee forgot to shut off their computer. Maybe some employees ignored the alarm. And then maybe we realized that one individual could not get down the stairs. Maybe they were injured, or maybe they were out of the office when the test happened. So you're going to want to rewrite, retrain, retest. Also, one thing that the Ready government really does not get a whole lot into, you want to get to know the people around you. You want to know the other businesses, what they would do in the event of an emergency. You want to know, don't only go with one supplier when you get supplied with your goods. Have a network. You'd also want to be in contact with your local organizations, your church, stores, dealerships. You want to know everybody so that in a disaster, you can at least communicate, help each other out. Survival and continuity does not happen in a bubble. And really and truly, one thing that I really want to convey in this seminar is that you really need a plan. It doesn't have to be a perfect plan, but really and truly, get it down to writing, communicate it with your employees, run some drills, and then you really want to even go further with your business planning. There are scenarios that maybe you're not there, and maybe you're not coming back, and that would be more along the lines of a business succession plan, of which we have a separate webinar on, delivered by Roman Basie. If you Google business succession crisis Roman Basie, that's spelled B-A-S-I, the first hit should be his webinar on business succession. It is a very good webinar, and I'd encourage anybody to look at it. And here is my contact information, 618-997-3436 if you have any questions. I've got my email down there and our website. If you want, you can look at our articles, tax tips, and if you want to get on the tax advisory list, go ahead and email me. I'll gladly put you on there. But otherwise, it's been fun. Thank you for attending, and we'll be in touch shortly. Thank you.